Most people think delivery jobs are simple. Pick up the order, drop it off. But if you talk to the people who actually do these jobs, the drivers, the couriers, the truckers, you start to hear stories. Stories that make you lock your car doors the moment you step outside. Stories that make you check the back seat before you even start the engine. Because sometimes, the most terrifying part of a delivery isn't the place you're going. It's the person waiting for you or the person already inside your car. Tonight, we're diving into several true creepy delivery driver stories that prove one thing. When your job takes you to strangers' doors in the middle of the night, you never truly know what you're walking into. And the first story begins with what seemed like the most ordinary delivery imaginable. A woman in her early 20s was working multiple jobs while trying to get through college without drowning in debt. One of those jobs was delivering food. It was late one night when a large fast food order appeared on her delivery app. A nearby pickup, going to an address she didn't recognize. That wasn't unusual. What was unusual was where the GPS began taking her. At first the streets looked normal enough, but as she drove farther, the houses became more run down. Streetlights became fewer. Windows were boarded shut. Yards were overgrown and abandoned. And then came the feeling. A strange sensation she later described as bone prickles. That cold awareness creeping up your spine, when something deep in your instincts whispers, something isn't right. Eventually she reached the address. The entire block looked empty, dark and silent. Every house abandoned, except one. Lights poured from every window. Music blasted from inside, loud enough to hear from the curb. She grabbed the food bag and walked up the driveway, knocking on the door. After a moment, it opened. A boy in his mid-20s stood there, relaxed with a friendly gesture and a bit goofy. He looked confused when she told him she had a delivery. According to him, there were only 3 people inside the house, and they had already ordered pizza. Still, the app clearly showed the address. So he asked her to wait while he checked with his friends. From the porch, she could hear muffled voices, then shouting, then what sounded like banging somewhere deeper inside the house. The bone prickles returned. A minute later the boy came back. He apologized and said everything was fine. Apparently someone inside had ordered the food after all. But before she could hand it over, he said they wanted to give her a cash tip. $10. He disappeared back inside again. The door remained slightly open, and for a moment, curiosity got the better of her. She glanced inside. The house looked nothing like the outside suggested. It was clean, modern and expensive furniture. Pinball machines in the corner. Framed posters on the walls. Whoever lived here clearly had money. Eventually the boy returned with $10 and some loose change, thanked her, and took the food. The delivery was finished. She walked back to her car, got in, started the engine. Everything seemed normal, until she glanced up at the rearview mirror, and saw someone lying on the floor in the back seat. A tall man, curled up, perfectly still, holding a knife. For a split second, her brain refused to understand what she was seeing. Then the realization hit her. While those boys had kept her distracted at the door, someone had slipped into her unlocked car, and now he was waiting. Her heart pounded so loudly she thought the man might hear it, but she forced herself to remain calm. If he knew she'd seen him, she had no idea what he might do, so she drove. Up ahead, glowing under bright fluorescent lights, was a gas station. She maintained a steady speed. No sudden movements. No panic. Then suddenly, she swerved into the gas station parking lot, threw the car into park, jumped out, and ran inside screaming for help. The clerk stared at her, completely confused, until his expression suddenly changed. His mouth slowly opened, because behind her, a tall figure unfolded itself from the back seat. The man stepped out of the car, looked around, and ran straight into the darkness beyond the gas station lights. Police searched the nearby woods. They found the knife, but the man was never found. To this day, no one knows who he was, or what he was planning to do. Now before we move on to the next story, if you're enjoying these chilling real-life mysteries, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below which story is creeping you out the most so far. Your support helps this channel continue bringing you stories just like these. Now, let's continue. Our next story comes from a rural postal worker in England. She had been delivering mail along the same countryside route for nearly 6 years. She knew every house, every resident, every friendly face that greeted her along the way. There was the marine biology student who loved discussing ocean creatures, an elderly woman who always shared bizarre medical updates about her health, Even a glam rock band who somehow transformed into quiet middle-aged gardeners during the day. But there was one place she rarely interacted with. A small farm belonging to a man known as Farmer McKay. He was known locally as grumpy, reclusive, the kind of man who hated visitors. One morning, for the first time in years, she received a scheduled package pickup from his property. The instructions were simple. Do not knock. Do not approach the house. Retrieve the parcel from a small outhouse on the property. The farmyard was filthy. Mud thick enough to swallow her boots. The smell of animals and decay hung in the air. Inside the outhouse she found the box and began carrying it back toward her van. Halfway across the yard, she noticed something dripping from the bottom of the package. A dark, foul-smelling liquid. Then suddenly, the box collapsed. The bottom fell apart, and its contents spilled onto her legs. Rotting organs. Liquefying flesh. The smell was so unbearable that she vomited instantly. At first she assumed it was animal remains. But when she looked closer, she thought she saw something that looked like parts of a human spine. An eyeball rolled free among the gore. Terror shot through her. What if Farmer McKay had committed a crime and was trying to mail the evidence? Panicking, she walked toward the farmhouse. Before she reached the door, it opened. But the man standing there wasn't Farmer McKay. It was his grandson. And the moment he saw what she was covered in, his face filled with horror. He quickly explained. The day before, doctors had taken Farmer McKay away. His behavior had become increasingly strange and unstable. Something was very wrong with him mentally. The grandson apologized over and over, helping her wash the worst of the mess off with a garden hose. But as she walked back to her van, she glanced inside the nearby barn. And what she saw there would stay with her forever. Inside the barn was a massive pile of animal corpses, goats, chickens, and sheep, all rotting together in a horrifying mound. And next to the pile were stacks of empty cardboard boxes. Boxes identical to the one she had been carrying. It appeared Farmer McKay had been planning to mail pieces of the dead animals to someone, or maybe to many people. No one ever found out who he was mailing them to. Now if you think that's disturbing, the next story might be even stranger. A long-haul truck driver once stopped at a highway rest station late at night. He bought 2 oversized hot dogs and a giant slushie before getting back on the road. An hour later, while driving through an empty stretch of highway, he heard something behind him, inside the trailer. At first it sounded like cargo shifting. Then it happened again. Footsteps, actual footsteps. Eventually curiosity forced him to pull over. He opened the trailer doors. And suddenly, they exploded outward. An elderly woman leapt out. Filthy, half-dressed. Holding a sharp utility knife. She shoved the driver to the ground and sprinted toward the cab. By the time he caught up, she was sitting in the driver's seat, calmly eating his second hot dog, drinking his slushie. Police arrived nearly an hour later. By that time the woman had finished the food and fallen asleep. No one ever discovered how she managed to sneak into the sealed trailer, or how long she had been hiding inside. And finally, one last strange story. A college student once answered a knock at his door late at night. A pizza delivery driver stood outside. Even though he hadn't ordered pizza, he assumed it might be a surprise from his girlfriend. But the moment he opened the door, the driver threw the entire pizza straight into his face, burning cheese sliding down his skin. Then the driver kicked him hard between the legs. As the man collapsed in pain, the delivery driver shouted, "This is for my mother, you psycho." Then suddenly, the driver looked at the house number and realized something horrifying. He had the wrong address. Without another word, he ran back to his car and sped away. When the victim called the pizza shop, the employee on the phone begged him not to report the incident. Instead, they offered him free pizza. 3 free pizzas immediately. And to be repeated every 6 months. The man accepted the deal. And to this day, he has no idea what the real target did to deserve that attack. And maybe, that's for the best. Because sometimes, the scariest part of these stories isn't what happened. It's what almost happened. So the next time you see a delivery driver pulling into your driveway late at night, remember something. For them, every door they walk up to, every car they get into, every dark street they drive down, could become the beginning of a story like this. If you enjoyed tonight's stories, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves creepy real-life mysteries. And if you want more creepy delivery driver stories, let me know in the comments. Because trust me, there are many more stories like these. And some of them are even darker.